Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. I wanted to do a video one because I haven't done a video in a while, and you know I love making videos, but I just wanted to talk about all the different random things that are going on because there's just so much random stuff. It's really hard to make a video out of one of them because it's a short subject. So this is going to be a new series. Hopefully if you guys like it, I'll do more of them, but I'm just going to call it Gaijin Hunter Unscripted. It's kind of a podcast, so sit back, put this on in the background, and if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the state of things of Monster Hunter, Japan, and things that I've been up to and games I've been playing, then sit back, relax, and let's go through some stuff. I'm going to start with Monster Hunter though, so that for those of you who are not interested in my personal life, any of the other games I play, or even Japan, then I think you guys can just listen to the Monster Hunter portion and then leave the video if you'd like. Of course, all of this is unscripted, so if I mumble, if I say and a lot, well, you'll have to forgive me. First topic I'd love to talk about is Raging Brachydios and Furious Rajang hitting Iceborne in March 23rd. Super excited for Raging Brachydios actually. I love the monster, and I gotta admit, I really liked it in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, just the regular Brachydios, because I love how it was big, it had footwork, and it would pivot around you and really catch you off guard. But once we got into 4 and 4 Ultimate and even Generations, hunters were able to jump around, use elevation, and just something happened to the monster where it just seemed a lot weaker. I don't know, it just wasn't as foreboding, it didn't pivot around you like a boxer as much, so seeing the video gameplay that they released, which I'm sure you can check on YouTube, because it was so big and because it does this huge sort of 90-degree pivot, it really captured what I thought from just watching it, the original feeling I had when I was being traumatized by the monster in 3 Ultimate. So I think it's going to be a great update. Very excited to see it. Again, that's March 23rd. Those are the variants, and I think on PC it comes a month later. Hopefully I'm not incorrect. Furious Rajang I'm not really looking forward to be honest. I wasn't a huge fan of the implementation of it from a gameplay perspective of the base Rajangian world. It's a great monster, and I think visually it's incredibly striking, and the cutscenes were great. But there was something off about it, and I think Hernie, who has a video on it which is fantastic, and I'll link in the description down below, really captures on what was a little bit off on the gameplay part of it. But either way, hopefully they'll fix it. Hopefully Furious Rajang will be amazing and it won't feel cheap or anything like that, and it should be interesting. Talking about Hernie, actually, let's go into the next topic, which was Monster Hunter Festa in Boston. This was on March 1st, I believe. It was a really great live stream, so thanks to everybody who also joined up in the Twitch, and we all enjoyed and watched it. Although they had some technical hiccups, they invited Chris from Team Darkside and Hernie to do the commentating. Obviously they're two huge people in the Monster Hunter community and really high level players, so like they know their stuff. Not just that, they're just young, they're impressionable, and they're just charismatic, so it was really cool that Capcom were able to invite them to be the guest commentators, and although they had to sort of like fill gaps because they just had to stall because they had some technical hiccups, I thought they both did a fantastic job. Monster Hunter Festa has always been a thing here in Japan. We've had it for years, and a lot of you guys have enjoyed watching them live with me on YouTube and on Twitch and in my Discord, and time attack competitions have always been a thing for Monster Hunter here in Japan. We never really had it in the West until recently, so it's super exciting to see it finally come to the stage in the West, and I think overall everyone was really happy. I would have loved to have seen more brackets and a little bit larger event, but you know what, I'm happy with what we got, so hopefully this is the start of a new thing and we'll be able to get more and more of them. Gotta talk about that performance though, like being able to see Shepard again is great. Shepard of course is the inspiration of why I even started YouTube. I was watching his videos back on Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate when I got into the game, and I had already been studying and sort of writing my own guides just to teach myself, but then seeing like YouTube used as a format to teach weapon tutorials was incredibly inspiring, and it got me thinking about doing it myself. He was paired with Omnitoad, who I just love his smile. He just seems to beam positivity off of him, so it's always great to see him. And I guess sort of you gotta talk about the winners. I mean, the winning team, Team Kua, I think it's pronounced Q-U-A, which was Samgrass and TSC, absolutely killed it. The performance was amazing. They had a Namiel run, which was one for the books. You guys have to go on YouTube and check it out. It was really inspiring. It was really cool to see the Insight Glaive being used because all the other previous teams didn't use it. That's something we see in Festa all the time here in Japan as well, where a lot of the teams will practice and they'll end up falling on a lot of the same weapon combinations because they all found it pretty optimal. so being able to see a sort of variation is always inspiring, and I, like most other hunters, just adore watching speedrunners do their craft. I will have to touch upon this subject. There was, I guess, some arguments, I guess you could say, on Twitter about some members of the speedrunning community feeling that casual players don't respect them, not them as people, but like casual players don't like speedrunner players, and that there's just some kind of conflict between the two camps. And honestly, from my perspective, I've never observed it. One of the great things about Monster Hunter is that I think both communities love and respect each other, and especially I think casual players really enjoy watching speedrunners. It's a level of play most of us cannot achieve, and it's really interesting seeing all the different optimal strategies, some crazy builds, really min-maxing it, and just really good strategy about how to combat monsters and how to walk around them and stuff like that. I get it, like, you know, it's a community, there's a lot of players, especially with Monster Hunter World Iceborne, there's like over 10 million people, so come on. There's going to be obviously some speedrunners who may, you know, act egotistical or talk down to casual players, and on the flip side, there's probably casual players who hate speedrunners and claim that they don't have fun and, you know, they're just too serious. But it's got to be a really low percentage of people who think like that. I think in general, Monster Hunter community loves both the casual and the speedrunner players. Two very different mindsets, and I think both sides can learn from each other. Some really cool and fun, you know, theme builds that casual players will do that will inspire some speedrunners to goof around and have fun. And of course, the optimal stuff that speedrunners do help educate the casual player who's looking to up their game. So love to both camps. I definitely fall in the casual side, but if you follow me on Twitter, I constantly retweet and share amazing speedruns because they are just so entertaining and absolutely inspirational. Okay, moving on, Monster Hunter, the movie. So Monster Hunter movie posters, they released on February 28th. They released two posters, which were kind of bland, but showed off a pose shot of Mila Jovovich and Tony Jaa. Those are, it could be Ya or Ja, I don't know. I apologize if I'm butchering the name. The movie is coming September 4th, and I'll just say, like, I made a video on this movie and the premise and my thoughts about it, but I'll just say it again. I don't expect the movie to be good. I mean, obviously, if you read the premise of the movie, if you followed the director and you know his work, you kind of know what you're getting into already. So I don't expect it to be horribly on brand or that well made, but as long as they have some cool monsters and some cool monster scenes, hey, popcorn flick, B-rated movie, I'm happy to kick back and have a good time. Tony being in it is definitely going to be interesting. Hopefully they let him shine because he is a good actor. And one of the arguments and kind of things I see online is, why would they do a bad movie? Like, why couldn't they do something more on script with a higher budget? And honestly, it's not going to hurt the franchise, whether it's good or bad. I mean, the Biohazard Resident Evil movie series, which is the same team, the same director and everything, while the first movie was bonkers, I loved it. All the other ones were decreasing in quality and I wasn't a fan, but those movies did really good, especially in Asia. And I think it's done nothing but help the game, even though they're vastly different. I think just being able to get that name out there to more people makes them a little bit more inclined to try out the game, or at least be more receptive when they see something about it. Okay, that pretty much sums up my thoughts on that one. So I think the last thing for Monster Hunter is I want to do a kind of follow-up discussion on Riders. This is that free-to-play gacha game that came out here in Japan. I made a video, it was my last one, and I don't like making negative videos. And I got, you know, some interesting feedback from people, but some were kind of upset because they've been playing the game and they've been enjoying it. And I just got to remind everybody that I was very clear in my video. I only played it for 2.5 hours. I did actually go back and play it another hour just out of curiosity, and I didn't like it at all. There was just a lot of things that did not rub me the right way, and I was not interested in giving it the time to see if it blossomed into something more interesting. I know most games, you know, that start bad might actually start getting better as you go along, or maybe some of the preconceptions I had early in the game turned out to be not so serious or not true at all. I don't know. So don't take my word for it. You should never take anybody's word for anything. At all cases, you should try it yourself and be the judge. But for me, I honestly really don't like the game. And I'm disappointed that I didn't like it. And I think that came out in my video. Hopefully it didn't come out like I was raging or being dishonest or unfair to the game. But yeah, you know, I just didn't like it. I'm sorry. It is doing good here in Japan though. Last month it released, I believe it made over $4 million, over 3 million downloads, so we'll see if the game has legs or whether or not this is just franchise power giving it a first few months of really good performance, because in Japan, big brand name, mobile game, you can expect to do pretty good your first month, but it's the long term that's really going to show how good the game is. So I wish them the best. It's not my cup of tea. It's definitely not the type of gacha game that I like to play. But I hope those who enjoy it do have a good time. And sorry I didn't, and I'm not going to force myself to cover the game if I didn't like it. Okay, for those of you who are only interested in hearing me talk about Monster Hunter stuff, this is pretty much where I'm going to stop doing that. But if you want to stick around, I'm going to be talking about what games that I've been playing, things that are on my menu, thoughts about other stuff, and even some sort of surface level thoughts about how it is right now in Japan with the coronavirus, and just, what I'm observing. So coming down to what I'm playing, and this is probably a good way to segue because it's a gacha game and it's mobile as well, because we were just talking about Riders, but I did obviously play and enjoy the Monster Hunter event for Dragalia Lost, which is made by Cygames and published either by them or Nintendo, I can't remember which one. Dragalia Lost was really fun, the event. I did sort of get passed through all the story, and I've checked out some of the endgame content because that event really allowed you to boost and get pretty far into the game. And honestly, the endgame loop just seems a little grindy and probably not for me or my lifestyle, but I can definitely imagine that if you have some buddies that you're playing with, it could be really cool because the actual gameplay of each stage is very interesting. There's the action game mechanic of it. So I think the grind could be very fun if you have friends to do it with. If you're a solo player, I don't know, it might feel a little too simple and only just one or two things that you can do. But it's a well-made game, and I gotta admit that I think it's great. So I have it on my phone still. I do get my login bonuses, and I'm just waiting for that next big collaboration event. Something for me to dig into, but I don't think it's gonna be a game that I'll main and play a lot. But I do have, feelings of affection towards it. Speaking about Cygames, what I have been playing this whole entire month, basically, is their other game, which is Japan only, called Princess Connect Redive. It just hit its 2nd anniversary, so it was a very good time for me to get into the game, because they were giving away tons of stuff for an entire month, just in crazy amounts. But Princess Connect is absolutely phenomenal. Me and Yuna both got addicted to it. It's like taking a full-on anime and then making a character game, action game. It's hard to describe. Princess Connect, if you look at it on YouTube, you'll probably get a better idea what it is. But it's just really good and shows me the potential of what a free-to-play game can actually be. It's just fantastic. In the first 4 days alone, we put in 25 hours. We've put in over 100 hours in the last month. And I think this is going to be my main game for the whole year. We're totally hooked. They're going to be starting a TV animation series very late night here in Japan in April, so we're going to record that and watch it together. Just big fan of the series and the characters as well. Leading into that, we did find out that Cygames, because we were already, saying, hey, this is a good company. Dragalia Lost was interesting. Princess Connect really shows us how generous a company can be with both game design and also just the operations, like how much stuff they give away in that game, and just all the amazing amount of things that you can do. So we were looking for new games to play, and we downloaded something like 30-40 games. We tried them. We didn't like most games that we tried. But we did find Shadowverse, which is a sort of collectible card game by Cygames. And it's really cool. The hook that got us in there is we figured out that they had recently done a collaboration with their other game, Princess Connect. So the latest booster in that game features character cards from that franchise. So we gave it a shot, and we actually fell in love with it. It reminds me a lot in the lines of Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a very well-structured game like that. But it's just really fun. So me and Yuna have probably played it for about 40 hours in the last few weeks. And we were having a lot of fun dueling the other day. And I'll tell you one thing, she beats me 40% of the time easily. She's really good, and I don't have to pull punches. And that is a great feeling, having another gamer in the house to play off of and, to help each other become better players. It's a great feeling. Moving away from mobile, because as you know, my heart is really with consoles and handheld, dedicated gaming machines. There's just something about it that, a mobile game cannot touch. I think it's the combination of physical input and also the idea that on your mobile device there's other distractions. where I play a game so I can escape the world. I don't want my email, I don't want messages from anybody. I want to just be in the game, and I think playing on mobile you can be taken out, especially with all the things running in the background. But as far as console games go, I haven't played too much because Princess Connect and Shadowverse have been taking up all my time. I do go on a Switch and play Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate every now and then just to get my fix, because I really do enjoy that game a lot. Recently, Capcom gave me a review copy for the Mega Man Z collection on the Switch, so I'm going to start playing that. I played it the other day just for a few hours. I was playing the very first Mega Man Z game, and it was cool. I think it's implemented well, it played interesting. It was much harder than I thought it would be, but I can't really give you too much thoughts because I haven't played much of it. So hopefully I'll be able to play more of it and give you guys some extended thoughts either through a video or on my Twitter, either or. Let's see, another thing on my Switch has been Witcher 3. I've been very slowly playing it. They just added a patch to the game, which gives all these graphical options where you can tweak it like it's a PC build, because I think it is the PC build just built for the Switch. There's so much customization that you can do on that thing. You can finally take off the anti-aliasing so that it's not blurry. It's just unbelievable how well that port is done. They even have cloud saves, so if like you played it on your PC and you want to take it on the go, you can sync it up with the Switch if you have the Switch Online service, and you can pick up your exact same save data as long as you weren't using mods, and you can play it on the Switch. That's insane. The last game I really have to play is Yakuza 0, I think it is, but the Yakuza game finally came out on Xbox Game Pass, which I am a subscriber to, even though I haven't used it that often, only because I've been so busy with work and other games. I do love the service, and I think it's great. For someone like me, as long as I can play 2 to 3 games a year, I've already gotten my money's back. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but games in Japan are very expensive. It's like $80 for a PlayStation 4 or Xbox game, and like $60, $70 for a Switch game, like $50, $60 for a 3DS game. So definitely not cheap. So service like Xbox Game Pass, fantastic for me, and I'm a huge fan of the Xbox One X. I didn't play the Xbox One for a long time, but Monster Hunter World got me convinced to buy the One X just to try it out, and I fell in love. It's a good machine. Anyways, I really have never played any of the Yakuza games. I just don't get into open world, like you can do all these sort of theme games. I don't like human versus human violence. It's one of the reasons why I don't play Grand Theft Auto. The only one I actually tried out really was Grand Theft Auto 4, and I tried it. I loved just riding around the town and listening to all the radio stations. Those were fantastic. And then just going home to your apartment and watching those fake TV shows. That to me was worth the price tag, even though I barely played the main story. It gives you an idea where I am when it comes to those types of games. I think like the only exception I've ever had was a game like Crackdown, and I think it's because it's so fantasy-like, where you're like the good guy and the buff soldier, and the bad guys are, they don't really feel like people. So I don't know. Rare exception, I guess. And finally, I guess I'll talk about what's going on in Japan right now. Obviously, you guys are watching the news or reading about it online, but coronavirus has been a huge problem. The government made a recommendation that all elementary, middle, and high schools close down for the entire month of March, and most of the schools did, including Yuna's as well, so she's at home. I've been fortunate enough to be able to telecommute, so I do my day job here at home. And then I'm also watching over her, trying to keep her entertained because she's bored out of her mind. Obviously making 3 meals a day because she's not having school lunches. It's just been a lot to deal with. So having to work, having to deal with a child at home all day, and trying not to get on each other's nerves, because face it, people need time away from each other, whether it's a sibling, it's a parent, a couple, husband and wife. You just need a break. I think being able to take a break makes you appreciate the other person, gives you some breathing space, makes you feel like you're getting out. There's just something about being a person that it agitates you when you feel suffocated and you're always in the same room with somebody. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're like living in a 1-bedroom apartment with another person, it can be quite stressful. So hopefully you don't think that it's the other person that's getting in your nerves. It's really just the situation. So far we're doing pretty good. We've been playing lots of games together. I go out for walks, just trying to get my head clean, give her some time to sort of breathe as well, because I imagine it's stressful for a child as well to always be at home with a parent as well. Hopefully she'll be able to get some friends over to play sometime soon, but yeah, she's gonna be home all month. That means that it's been very hard for me to make videos, been very hard for me to do anything, and I've been focusing more on the gaming experiences that I could share with her. I had some stomach issues about a few weeks ago where they said it's diverticulitis or something like that. I don't know the English word for it, but basically it's like I've got little pockets on my colon or my large intestine, and that certain foods are just bad luck. Things could get accumulated in those little pockets and then become bacterial infections. So anyways, I had like this huge stomach bloat and massive pain where my stomach was really hurting. So I got some antibiotics. Luckily I didn't pop a hole in my stomach or anything like that. It went down, so they very much told me I should avoid spicy foods and just try to not overeat or do anything like that. I've actually cut out alcohol because I know being overweight will only complicate health issues in general, but also especially stomach related stuff. So I'm trying to lose weight. I haven't lost any weight because I haven't been able to exercise or get out or get to the gym because, again, coronavirus, they're telling people not to go to gyms. They don't want you in places where you're touching things that other people are touching. And there's been cases of people getting the virus from gyms in Japan. So I'm trying to avoid it even though we have a gym nearby. I'm going to try to get out and walk some more. But yeah, I quit drinking over a month ago, which has been fantastic. Very happy that emotionally, or I guess you could say psychologically, it hasn't been bad for me, which is good because I smoked when I was like really young, and quitting smoking was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. The addiction was that strong, so very fortunate that I don't seem to have a massive addiction to drinking, although I do miss the flavor. But I'm making up for that with good coffees, lattes, and some non-alcoholic drinks as well. So hopefully, I'll get my health back. But they're gonna make me do a colonoscopy or whatever it's called, where they shove a camera up your butt. I'm gonna be doing that in April. That sounds like it's gonna be a wild experience. So hopefully they don't find anything cancerous or anything bad inside of me, and I can share it as a fun drinking story, even though I don't drink anymore. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. Like they give you all these laxatives to wash yourself out. You don't eat for a day beforehand. Then they give you, I guess, medicine that will numb half your body, and apparently it's like super strong. Then they'll do the procedure. They'll take care of anything they see, and then you got to wait for the anesthetics to wear off. So if it's a fun experience and nothing serious comes up, I'll tell you guys all about it. Maybe it's interesting, like drinking barium for your health examination is really crazy. Hopefully it'll be a good story and have a good ending. So a little too much information, I guess, but that's what's been going on in my life and why I haven't been able to make a lot of videos. Super excited for E3 this year. I know that there's still the possibility it might be canceled, or maybe people will do it more online, but I am very excited because, come on, this is the year of new game machines. How can you not be excited? And I do have my fingers crossed that sometime around E3 or perhaps Tokyo Game Show, we might start getting some, news from Capcom about the next Monster Hunter game that they're making, I'm hoping. This usually, at least in the cadence of things, would make sense because they're going to be supporting Iceborne all throughout this year, so I don't expect anything coming out this year. But come on, next year, they got to have something lined up, right? So, anyways, I'm cautiously optimistic, but anything game news related is always exciting, so hopefully E3 goes off without a hitch and people enjoy all the news. Anyways, that's me rambling now, just telling you about everything that's been going on. Let me know in the comments below what you think about just this kind of podcast talking style. I don't have an account, so I can't make an actual podcast, which I know is probably more optimal, so I'm doing it on YouTube with no video. I know for some people it feels like that's cheap or it's wrong or I should be editing it. I just don't have the time because of my situation right now. Anyways, I'd love to have constructive feedback, so if there's something I'm doing wrong, maybe I should script it better, I shouldn't talk about random stuff so much, I should stop saying all the time, let me know in the comments below. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. Anyways, that was my mindless ramblings. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast-like video, and until next time, happy hunting.